Our first guest this morning is here with advice about job interviewing. She talks to a lot of hiring managers, and there's one thing they tell her that can be a major deal breaker.
That's right. Katrina Cravy is a former consumer reporter and TV news anchor. Now she's an author, a small business coach, and communication expert. She's got some good advice for making that next big step in that job interview. Good to see you.
You guys look so rested.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great. I know.
Has anybody ever told you that before? You look tired?
Yes, and immediately it makes you feel bad.
It does.
You're like, do I look really bad? And then you're lagging the whole rest of the day.
Yeah.
Blow them off.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about.
It's a tough one to take in.
Exactly. Yeah, and these job interviews, that's kind of how it is, like having normal communication. You know, you want to be able to say the right thing and do the right thing when you're going on a job interview. And I know that we've talked about it before about making eye contact.
Yeah.
And with our kids, wanting to make sure that they get it. You know, like you
shake.
Yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you.
It's good to work with kids on a good handshake because I think it's hard to make eye contact even as a kid.
Oh,
I think so too.
It is, and especially in a job interview. So that's the first thing. Of course, we're talking about just making sure that you look confident, that you're sitting upright, that you're looking them in the eye, and that you have some good questions because you know you're used to in a job interview they always ask you questions.
Right.
But then the killer that I'm hearing is that people then suddenly go, "Do you have any questions for us?"
At the end.
And the person
People go, "No."
No, I think you answered them all.
So bad.
Right.
Or we have a manager here at the station who asked that question at the end of an interview. You got any questions for us? What are you thinking?
Right.
No, I've been doing this, what I've been doing for quite a while. I think I got it.
See, and I think that that's wrong because
That's totally wrong.
It's like in any conversation, and whether you're looking for a job or not, you just need to be naturally curious about other people.
Right.
And about their jobs and their life and what they're doing. And so there's some key questions that need to be asked.
Yeah, what are some good questions though? Because I think that's what people struggle with is they don't want to ask a question at the end that makes it seem like they're not competent.
Yeah. Right.
Or capable of getting the job even on the spot, or that they're not getting it or understanding. So a lot of times I think people struggle with what type of question to ask. Is it okay to ever ask a question that's sort of off the beaten path? Like something kind of, you know, just simply about the, quirky.
Right, yeah, and I think it is, you should be asking questions, and you should be asking questions not just to the hiring manager, but to everyone that you meet in the job, you know.
In the interview process.
Right, so we've got some back pocket questions that you can always have in your back pocket to anyone that's around that you're talking to about this business.
And you know what, this is great. We have them on the screen. Write them down. Give them to your kids, especially college kids who are going to be going to some of their first really big job interviews. Maybe they've had part-time jobs or summer jobs, but if you're going to a big job interview, these are great to have, as you said, in your back pocket to ask, even if they don't say, do you have any questions? Because here's the reality is that I think if you ask questions of anyone, socially, in work, as a friend, you appear interested.
Yeah, well, you should be interested. You should be engaged in what you want to get accomplished for you and for that other person. It's a two-way street. And you got to remember, on a job interview, you're interviewing them too. What's to say that you won't like working there and be gone in 6 months? Nobody wants that. They want long-term stability. So some of the questions, I like going over these because I know that if I went into a job interview, I would be talking to everybody. And my first question would be, how long have you worked here? And if you've been 13 years or 6 months or whatever, then say, well, what do you like about working here? That would be my question number one.
And then what do you hate about working here?
What's the worst thing about your job?
I would ask it. Why not? Why not be honest and ask that? I would definitely ask that.
Okay.
And it goes to my question number two. And this, you'll notice, it's not an if question. It is a when question. When there is a problem, when stuff is not going right, how is it handled? How is it handled? Because there will always be a problem. So I want to know, is the manager going to freak out, kick trash cans, be crazy? You know, is that something I can handle, or is that something I don't want to deal with?
So this is probably something you want to ask of someone in a similar position to you. If you're interviewing or capable, not necessarily a hiring manager.
Yeah, when they, So, do you freak out? I'd like to know.
No, but like if you ask a hiring manager, how is it handled here? They're going to tell you probably the proper channels it should go through, but not necessarily the truth.
Exactly. I would ask the people, you know how they say, you know, well, just walk around and talk to people while I'm busy doing something else.
I don't like that.
Oh, trust me.
They do that in newsrooms. They'll interview reporters. I remember this. And then they'll say, oh, walk around the newsroom, ask people stuff. Well, they're all on deadline.
Busy.
They don't want to talk.
And they're all crabby, you know, and it's like, you don't want to walk around and ask people questions.
But that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
So that is what you should be at least going, hey, I know you don't really have time. Just briefly, when there's a problem here, how is it handled? And the other question that I would really ask everybody around
last one.
is, what is the culture? And I know culture is the big buzzword right now. It's kind of hard to explain sometimes, but I would say, like, do you guys get together? I mean, do you have like Packers Day? Is the Friday, you know, is it casual day? Like, what is
there free
it really?
food?
Yeah, Dave, cameraman Dave is all about the free food. He and Molly, first of all.
I think the culture question is good. I think sometimes it is hard to describe, because if somebody asked me that in our staff, I almost don't know if I'd have a really good answer for that.
Right.
Really quick, you have a fascinating story about interviewing as a reporter. I don't know if you're willing to share it. In Little Rock, Arkansas, you had a 2-day interview, and then at the end they said, do you have any questions? Right.
At the very end, he goes, do you have any questions? And I looked at him, and I mean, 2 days, I had asked a lot of questions. I finally said, do I get the job? And he paused and said, man, you probably shouldn't have asked that. And at that point, I just laughed, because I was like, wow, this has been a very interesting interview. Thank you very much. And I did not get the job.
Yeah.
But I was like, I had been put through the ringer at that place, and I learned a lot about interviewing and how to handle myself.
And you'll always remember that story.
Right. And
did you ever ask that question again?
I didn't, but I got hired months later here in Milwaukee. Yeah. So it just wasn't meant to be.
In a
that's
bigger
the thing
market
that people need to realize.
And that's the thing that happened to me. The only job I ever interviewed in this business for and didn't get was in Green Bay. Okay. And 2 months later, I got a call from Milwaukee. And I worked at Fox 6.
Things
was the
do
call
happen
that I
for a
got.
reason.
I got a call at Fox 6 and ended up in Milwaukee. If I'd signed a contract in Green Bay, I'd probably still be there.
You'd be like, go Pack, go. You'd be anchoring with only green and gold on. That would be all you would have on. No, but it's true. So I really encourage people, if you feel like you didn't do a good job, don't worry about it. You can always get better.
Yeah, I love it. All right, and people can contact you by going to, this is easy, way to get a great website, KatrinaCravy.com.
Catchy.
Yeah, that's so catchy. Great to see you. Looking sharp. You could wear that for a job interview.
Well, I think I was on one today.
You get the job. Thanks, Kat. Great to see you.
Good to see you.